Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the City Governance Committee on the 29th of September 2020. I declare the meeting open at 9 a.m. and I'd like to advise meeting attendees this meeting is audio recorded. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land on which we meet and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I have one leave of absence, being Councillor Mindley Russell. I wish to move a leave of absence. Could someone second that? Councillor Raven, show of hands, who is in favour of that? That is unanimous, thank you so much. I wish to also announce that today there is a global outage of Office 365 and it's actually affecting Council, and if you're having computer troubles, that might be a why. So apologies in advance of that, that is global. We have item 4.1 on the agenda, the Executive Financial Report for June 2020. Before we go into discussion on this item, do any councillors have any conflicts of interest to declare? No conflicts of interest. May I ask the Acting Finance Manager, Ms Jennifer Towell, to present the report. Please welcome Jennifer.
Thank you. I shall take the report as read. However, I do have a couple of points I'd like to highlight for June. This is the end of financial year wrap-up. I understand you've been waiting for a report for some time. We have been waiting for the audit of our end-of-year financial results, and you will see the full community report and annual financial statements at your special committee meeting this week. At the end of the year, Council achieved an operating surplus of $264,000, which is a fantastic result given the impact of COVID and that uncertainty in the later months of the year. The accumulated surplus for the end of the financial year was $7.8 million, and that will be your one-off funds that will go for your budget deliberations for the 21-22 budget. I'm happy to take any questions on the June report.
Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions? Councillor Hirameyer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you please comment on why the donation revenue stream was 52% above expectations?
Sorry, the donation?
What page, Jacob?
Can you play?
It would be page 10 of 36, so that's page 3 of the attachment of the quarterly executive financial report.
Yep.
In the first table, under operating revenue, there's the donation stream.
Yeah. So donated assets. So donated assets are contributed assets that are identified normally at the end of financial year, and they're unknown to Council until we receive that information. At the end of last financial year, we received $33 million worth of donated assets relating to our priority development areas that we hadn't budgeted for because we were unaware that they were coming onto our books. So these assets, we take them on, and that means we now have to maintain and look after them in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mr Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. What will you consider to be the turnaround here? Because when we started budget discussions, we're looking at an operating deficit, and the council seems to have swung around a bit. Is there any one contributing factor that's turned this around?
For last year?
Yeah.
So for last year, I think it was good direction and management of the budget and the expenditure during the year, and Council making that concerted effort to identify where we could make savings so that you could implement the relief measures that you introduced at the end of the year.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jennifer? Thank you. Someone happy to move that? Councillor Raven, is there a seconder? Councillor Bannon. All those in favour, show of hands, please. That is unanimous. Thank you. We now have item 4.2 of the agenda, the Executive Financial Performance for July 2020. Before we go into discussions on these items, do any councillors have any conflicts of interest they wish to declare? There being none, may I ask that you present this report, please, Ms Tao?
Sure. So the July report, so this is month one of our new financial year. We have an operating surplus of $3.5 million, which is 2.9 million higher than we expected. A big part of this is when we were doing budget deliberations, we anticipated that our development growth would slow down because that was what was happening at that time. But the home builder grant has come along and land sales have exceeded expectations, particularly in Logan. So we have a lot higher levels of revenue for development applications, for property searches than we had anticipated. We also have admission fees and charges at our council-owned facilities. They're ahead of budget. Again, we were uncertain about the impacts of COVID at that time, so our budgets were cautious for that. In relation to expenditure, we commenced operations at our facilities earlier than we anticipated, so we do have some expenditure offsetting those levels of revenue, and our bulk water purchases are ahead of budget due to the dry weather conditions. There are no areas of concern that are demonstrated so far in period one for the operating results. The outstanding rates on page 4, they have, page 4 of the attachment, they have slightly increased against July numbers, but that's mainly due to the timing of the issue of the rates notice when we compare last year to this year, and that's just due to our budget deliberations and the timing of that finalisation as well. The number of ratepayers on informal arrangements, you'll see in there we had 667 at the end of July. That's already reduced to around 500. Just to keep in mind, the suspension of the debt recovery measures and the interest-free period is going to happen on the 30th of September. So there are 15,000 letters going out to ratepayers this week, reminding them of that and to contact council if they need to make any arrangements moving forward. And then sundry debtors on pages 5 to 6, the Veolia and the Beanley Multisports invoices on that schedule, they're now paid. So I'm happy to take any questions on the July report.
Thank you. That's actually a good news story in relation to what the rest of the world is going through at the moment. Councillor Lane, then Councillor Raven. Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much. So the 15,000 letters that are being sent out to local residents reminding them that they are accessing some sort of interest-free period and that it may end, is that the case, or is it?
It's all our ratepayers that have overdue rates will be receiving those letters reminding them that the interest-free period is coming to an end and to make contact with council if they would like future arrangements.
So there is further capacity for them to arrange payment plans that are affordable to the family income and the circumstances.
Absolutely.
And council is very considerate of the change in income that people may have.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to commend the finance team for being proactive in going out and talking to people about that. The financial hardship policy was something that the Mayor championed last term and was very passionate about making sure that people who are going through difficulty don't have to pay interest and just need to communicate with council to get those benefits. So by doing it proactively, instead of hoping that they know about those facilities, it really means that we can be shown to be compassionate during these difficult times. I do, though, want to just give a little bit of a head nod to my portfolio and the development assessment branch, that we are kicking goals that no other city in southeast Queensland is, with the amount of development that is continuing to progress. And part of that is because Logan makes it so easy for businesses, developers, homeowners to get in there and actually identify what they can do with their property, what's allowed under the planning scheme, and makes it very simple and easy for them to do that. So when you remove all those barriers to entry to the market, it means that during a downturn, the money goes where it's easiest to spend, and that's in Logan. So that's a big credit to everybody in the organisation, but especially to David Hanson and his crew.
Very good. So true. Any other questions? Is someone happy to move the report? Councillor Raven, is there a seconder, please? Councillor Lane, show of hands. Who is in support? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. That is all the reports for the Acting Finance Manager. Does anyone have any general business at all? No general business. Do you have any general business for us, Jennifer?
No, I don't think.
Thank you, and keep up the good work, and please pass on our sincere thanks. Okay, I refer to item 5.1 of the agenda, the restructure of the days and times of committee meetings. Before we go into discussion on this item, do any councillors have any conflicts of interest they wish to declare? There being none, may I ask Corporate Governance Manager, Ms Sue McDonald, to present the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I take the report as being read. The purpose of this report is to adopt the calendar of meetings for the remainder of this year as well as into next year. Prior to the adoption of the calendar of meetings at the last City Governance Committee, I understand that there was some consideration being given to reordering the committee structure so that the recommendations of the Procurement and Appropriations Special Committee could report through to the City Governance Committee and then to the next available ordinary council meeting, rather than having to wait another round for those recommendations to be adopted. So this report is to formalise that structure. The only change that has been made is to bring forward the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee and to hold the City Governance Committee after the Procurement and Appropriations Special Committee. Other than that, there's been no change to the dates of committee or council meetings. So I take the report as being read, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And the Mayor and I and a number of other councillors did discuss this before the last round of committee meetings, so thank you very much for organising this. Does anyone have any questions? No questions. Someone happy to move the report? Councillor Raven. Councillor Murphy has second. Show of hands. Who's in support, please? That has been carried. Thank you very much. Next item is 5.2 on the agenda, the Procurement and Appropriations Special Committee meeting recommendations on the 8th of September 2020. Before we go into open discussion on this item, do any councillors have any conflicts of interest they wish to declare? There being none, thank you. May I ask Mr McDonald to present the report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I take the report as being read. This is just in line with the previous report to bring forward the Procurement and Appropriations Special Committee recommendations.
Okay. Any questions? No questions. Anyone happy to move that? Councillor Hira-Myers moving this and someone seconding. Councillor Hall, show of hands please. Who's in support? That has been carried unanimously. Thank you. Any general business for the Governance Manager, Ms McDonald? Being none, I note that due to social distancing restrictions, not all managers or staff could be present today. That being said, do anyone have any general business for the Acting Director of Organisational Services, Ms Kay Sullivan, who's sitting next door to me here? Any questions at all? Any general business? Do you have any general business for us, Kay? No? Thank you. That completes our agenda for today. I declare the City Governance Committee meeting of the 29th of September 2020 concluding at 9:14. The City Infrastructure Committee will commence in 10 minutes. Thank you.